All right. There we go. Zelda. All day, every day. For the rest of my life. If things go according to plan, we'll go till 1:55 p.m. So a little under 2 hours. Here's where we left off. Got Zelda here. I don't hate her. Doesn't look so bad the next day, so maybe we did something right. Do I still love the horse? I think it's okay. There's nothing specific calling out to me. Maybe that'll change, but I think maybe, if anything, something here feels like this could be less sharp. Like, tiny bit of elbow. Huh. Horsey, Zelda sketch. Should we just try and knock her out right now? Got the references up. Zelda, warrior princess. Let's try it. The other day, I misplaced my classic Wacom pen, so we're using the, I don't know what this one's called. The fat ones. Fat one that came with this computer, or is this tablet. At this scale, my brush gets a little pixely. As you can see, it doesn't really do any kind of attempt at anti-aliasing around the edges. Wouldn't necessarily be bad for pixel art. You can see over here, the texture is indeed very pixelated. That's this brush. Just has this interesting grit to it that that I enjoy. It's very distinctive. It's a brush eye. I took one of the relatively basic brushes in Corel Painter and tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it until it became warped in my own image. I like this kind of gritting her teeth, grimacing expression. Don't want to overdo it, but could be good. Soft chin, soft features, good cheekbones. There's definitely this fun kind of braided mass that she has incorporated into her hairstyle. How much of that I want to mess with, I don't know. Somewhat anime is okay. Not to be overdone. Course, there's these classic Hylian sideburns at play. The rest of her hair represented here is like this short little bob. That could be a fun story point. Like if at some point in the beginning of the story she had long hair, very regal princess-like hair, but there's trouble, she has to evade, she has to disguise, she cuts off her hair dramatically, and then, you know, she's got this cool bob for the rest of the story. Can't make out much of her details from my sketch here. Oh, you guys can't even see. A little better. Just turning off my notifications. Cover my butt. Let's make sure. Because I gotta pick up my kid. Hey Siri, set a timer for 1:55 p.m. Okay, we have an hour and 10. Here, this hand looks like it's gripping. A little bit of an unsure grip, so she's not making a fist entirely. And that basically does it. Looks like she's got some fingerless gloves, so we'll honor that a bit. do the same over here. Typically, when I can, try to just remember to get this first, like, get this and this relationship right, and then just remember to fan out the lines for the other fingers, where the pinky is the one pointed back the most, and the first knuckle is going forward the most, which is what's happening here. And if you can do that, even if it wasn't the best gesture for the hand to be making, it'll look naturalistic enough. You can kind of imagine whatever clumps of horsehair she's grabbing, sort of poking out like that. But we'll make those integrations later. If her shoulder is here, I think the rest of the arm would sort of look like that. I don't even hate how that looks. Maybe that can just be okay for now, because mostly it's going to be... This is one of those tricky, like, layers are great, and then you get into stuff like this where the layer for the person has to be above and below the layer next to it. And what do you do then? I'm not sure I know the answer. Part of Zelda, like obviously part of Zelda's body here is going to be on the other side of the horse's head, but clearly over here and here she's overlapping it. I could cut Zelda into 2 layers, but that'll be inefficient for other purposes that I'll have. That'll be a little more clear later. It's like Zelda's got all these various belt hoops and pouches of mystery. Which is great. No bare midriff or anything like that. the intersection of all these different anatomical forms here, sitting, so there's deformation and like her the soft parts of her body, for instance, where it meets tension against the rigidness of the horse. Very tricky to account for all that mentally. And then doing it in perspective. Drawing is tough. Most I could say is give it a freehand shot now and look at it later to see if I still don't like it. If I like it, I'll probably be okay. I'm used to looking at my work and really seeing it, really attempting to see it objectively. A lot of people will look at what I do and they'll be like, wow, that looks great. I'll be like, I'm glad you think it looks great. I think there's something off. I think there's something about it that needs to be fixed. And they'll be like, oh, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, there's something. And then I see it, I fix it. They're like, yeah, you're right. Looks better. Good job. I wouldn't have cared. But I am used to, through my day job, really trying to not champion. I don't need the patronizing, hey, great, oh, you're so good stuff. I need some of that, but I don't need it from myself. If I can get it from really real established industry professionals, and I've had my moments where I've like high praise from someone who knows, that feels amazing. I'd almost rather have criticism, which I get plenty of from, not often or anything like that, but I do get negative feedback sometimes from clients who, despite their best interests, can't help but have a little bit of a power exchange, and I'm okay with that. That's their privilege. You're the boss. I'm here to execute your vision and do my best. We don't need to draw Zelda's entire body. That would be foolish. However, it would allow us to perhaps have the best sense of whether her anatomy as we're seeing it here would look good if I continued it on the other side. But I can't see much practical utility in that right now. Maybe. I had a notion that while the Triforce is this as symbolic is totally appropriate, especially for Zelda to have on her outfits, I don't want it to just default to having Triforce overload. It's like, oh, there's a corner of a shield somewhere. Let's put a Triforce on it. those knees. And it's like, what's this material? It's probably some sort of nice leather. Anyway, Zelda looks good here. Decently good. Some stitching texture. Can give a good subtle sense of perspective. That's enough for me to tell whether I'll... Oh, I forgot the cape. Cowl or something. Head and body combined. A little bit of sweat. A little bit of these blush lines. Something like that. Nothing overtly anime. Not on this. There's so much anime Zelda fan art out there. Which is awesome. It's good, but it's not what I'm trying to do. Okay. Okay. It's looking good. Something I'd probably like to do is something like that, maybe. I mean, like, that's not damn bad right there. Quick save. Hi. Lolly has wobbled all in. Nothing. No, you're not late to nothing. I've done some Zelda-ness. She'll be, you know, gripping the unbridled horse, unprepared as they were to evacuate the village. And then... And I was just mulling over whether or not the... whether one of these horse legs, they're a little even, you know? I don't love the... Whether or not a horse might actually, you know, jump like that is... I think it's fair that it might, but front legs look a little bit off. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that comment, you know. Yeah, I don't want to... if I can get away with the back legs looking okay, I'm okay redrawing front legs for sure. I mean, maybe the back legs need work too, but... There's the uncanny valley, as they say. Alright, thank you. The back legs looking good, that's good. The and I agree, and I think it is something in the front legs that needs a little something. Maybe we can explore that. It needs to be bigger. Bent more, like a little bit. Like they're too out. Yeah, here, let me try that. Yeah, I mean, it depends on where in the jumping, right? I was wondering if it was a bit too much of a coincidence that yesterday after the stream I was looking through, you know, whatever, Instagram, and I'm like, huh, there's a lot of it's like random, you know, pictures of horses jumping in my in my suggested for you kind of, which I wouldn't normally look at, but I was like, okay. The world we live in, I guess. Yeah, we'll alt that. Let's try a very, like... What are we jumping over here? Yeah, it's not particularly well indicated yet, but there's just sort of like this downed log that exists. Just to give it a little more... I mean, it could be a turned over cart with burning civilians in it or something, you know, something horrible. But it's essentially something crazy. Because there's like a forest. They're basically escaping into a nearby forest from a village that was being destroyed over here. Huts and things. Okay, here. Well, let's swap out what I did before, and you know, it's not the whole horse needs to get fixed after all. Does look better. Even if I didn't finesse my line work or double check all that stuff, it looks better, right? I was reading like a bull was about to charge and legs were planted for the charge. Yeah, they were looking too even, in my opinion. Not something that was... It was almost like it was like on a surface and pushing itself up. And here we can see that's not the case. Because here it's like mid-jump. It's not before the jump where a horse like gets way back and then goes forward. It's sort of like I've already been leaping and now I'm halfway pushed off and now I'm halfway about to catch myself. Yeah, I want to make it feel like this is like you took a picture of an action scene. Like a still frame from the movie, as if it happened. That's kind of what we try to do in storyboarding. We try to see the thing and then reason backwards how to draw it. Just for my own sake, I'll clean up some of this stuff, but too clean will also not help. If something is too clean, it starts to feel like it is frozen. And if it's like too much detail, too clean, too finely indicated, can make it look like it's made of, or frozen in time, or some sort of like stasis lock or something like that. Not good for the intention that it's something crazy. And you can see what happens is like I got too into drawing Zelda, so she was rendered far too fine in comparison to everybody else. I mean, she looks fine, but you could tell what happens when you draw something at a different time on a different day, and everything just ends up getting the same look. But part of the reason I'm drawing bits of things on different drawings at different times is because I know that what can happen on artistic projects is you can get very stuck on just one image for like days and days and days when there's no... You can't allow for that in time. Okay, so these are interesting guys. We're going to move on to these guys. I mean, I guess... Here, Lollywobbles, I will let you decide. Should I try to draw this giant... These are the Octoroks. So this is just one... Now, Octoroks traditionally are like super... You know, they're like maybe dog-sized. Dog to... you know, dog to... Between the size of a dog and a bull, perhaps. creatures. Here I've drawn one that is like the size of a mountain. Not a mountain. Let's say that like it's big enough to destroy 2 houses at once just by walking over them. Because these little guys over here, these are like other citizens in the village running for their lives. So just to give a sense of scale, that like one person is as tall as the eyeball, for instance. And that's a departure. That's my spin on it today. There's the unexpected mega Octorok. And we could draw that as the next thing, or we could do these guys over here. And these are Vyres or Veers. I'm not sure how to pronounce them, but there's 2 of them. And they're these funny vampire guys. Let's see here. Veer. Zelda. Yeah, this guy. Where'd he go? Here. And these guys are like Castlevania rejects or something. They just sort of hop around. Big fat demons that hop around. And so they could be fun. I mean, they'll be fun. Either one would be fun. Do you have a vote? Put you on the spot. And you may be distracted, so I'm not going to hold you to it. We can always change our mind. But I'm a little excited. Oh, you know what would be smart? Do the Veers. I think it's Veer. Veer. I think it's supposed to be like... Well, does Vyre mean something? Vyre. What does it mean? Vyre. Vyre meaning. Vyre has multiple meanings, according to AI. An arrow with a rotary motion that was formerly used with a crossbow. Rippling or trembling of water to move funds from one budget to another. Short for please turn over, which is written at the bottom of a page in Portuguese. A type of arrow which had a turning motion and which was formerly used with a crossbow. Interesting. Veer. I always thought it was like a corruption of the word vampire, because they do sort of have this bat, fang, devilly looking thing. Alright, we'll do the... DBD is doing a Castlevania crossover in August. I'm stoked. DBD. Who is DBD? Who's DBD? What is DBD? Devil by Design... Dark. Dead by Daylight. Oh, that's the game that you stream. Yes, exciting. That game is interesting. The gameplay mechanics, as I've seen you playing them, are They don't leap they don't leap off the understanding of the strategies don't leap off the off of see, whereas when I draw things, I'm like explaining as if everyone in the audience is like a 5-year-old. Like, oh, see, there's 5 fingers on hands usually. Yeah, stuff like that. But I'm definitely so I'll do these veers. But here is the this will mark a fork in the road with these Zelda streams for a little bit, because here's the explanation, is because I don't just want to show how I draw things, but also how I approach drawing multiple things on a project that takes a lot of time, like this. What would make sense to do, because I do want to have a consistent approach throughout the entire thing, but I also want to hedge, because it may come to be that, what if I needed completed drawings within 2 weeks, let's say, or a week, let's say a week. If I, at this same pace, kept going through all these other things, I wouldn't have anything done in 2 weeks. I would just have little scraps of line work, like what we're seeing here. What I'm going to start to do is, now that we've got this row basically complete, right? This row is complete. All of our links are drawn, and we've got this row that's complete. I'm actually going to, after I draw a few veers, I'm going to double back to this drawing and start drawing in the backgrounds. Draw the background for this one. 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 Intercut with drawing new characters on these, so I'll be able to switch off. I'll draw these veers, but next, after that, I'll draw the background on the first one. So I'll sort of diffuse my attention between cleaning up and progressing on new, sort of divide my forces mentally, if you will, in time. And what that'll allow me to do is also, because sometimes drawing is not that interesting, but I think, for instance, how I actually color, I might color some of these, but how I render these in tone and finish a drawing would be very interesting. And so that'll allow me to work on sort of 2 skills at once, doing the drawing and also backpedaling a little bit to do the rendering on some of these images as well, so that overall the entire thing moves without too much distance between, you know, the vanguard and the rear guard, if you will, of the whole force of the project, so that, you know, that would mean by the time I get to, like, here with the wall master, like this giant hand guy, that would mean that this entire row of these 4 at the top would be completely finished, and these ones would be half finished, so that I'm not trailing with, like, going back, not going back far enough or going too far ahead. It's going to be a little bit of a shift, so look for it on an upcoming stream. All right, so these guys look fun. This scene is very this is kind of like another one of those, Link is hiding, Link is damaged, there's monsters looking for Link, they're not quite finding him, which is a little absurd maybe, but that is what it is. We've got this guy from the back, we've got this guy from the front. Over here is one of those dungeon statues that, like, comes alive and zaps you if it sees you. These snakes are over here looking, they're called ropes, they're over there looking for Link, and while Link is over here looking at them, not seeing him, we see this big shadow of a snake that is about to strike Link from off screen. So it's a lot of fun tension at work here. And then up here at the top, there could be all sorts of cool labyrinthian thing. Nope. What does nope mean? You don't like it? You won't be here for the snake. How come? You can't see snakes? Oh, you don't like snakes? Okay. I'll infer that's what you're talking about. Terrified. Oh my goodness. Well, good. I'll be sure to draw them extra scary for you. All right. I sympathize. I sympathize. Okay. So this is kind of cool. Like, so I've been on Instagram trying to post images of these things now, which has been a little, somewhat of a soft launch, if you will. And, you know, and I have no idea how to get social media traction, so I'm trying to, I'm like, okay, I'll follow a bunch of Zelda accounts and stuff like that. I made my own little account. It's the Study Studio Max thing at the top. That said, nobody should, well, I must watch my words, but social media has its pros and cons, and fully evaluate the concept of personal mental health before embarking on commitments and things like that. Very good. Yes, that is the way to, that is a smart thing. Not having socials is a good thing. All the hideous things they are doing. As if it wasn't bad enough before they were basically admitting to scraping everybody's data into AI hungry fucking bullshit. Oh, Jesus Christ. And the shit that happens when people get hacked and stuff is just, what? Oh my god. TikTok is, it is interesting how the hypocrisy of our societies with, you know, oh, ban TikTok, and it's like, whoa, hold on, that's the one that people actually like, right? Whereas, if anything, the real damage is done on platforms like Facebook, if not obviously on Twitter. I, nonetheless, unfortunately, have been in situations in my personal life where I've had to rely on broad communication for updates in my life that I was grateful for the ability to do so via social media, but with that moment past, I'm happier now to say that I prefer to keep my private life private when I can. And nobody really is using social media like they did before. In any case, like none of my friends are posting anything, and if they do, it's not with any kind of regularity. Yeah, I've gone ahead and decided that these Vyres can just have these huge grotesque smiles instead of this sort of flat grimace. A little bit more fun to see the smile. There's almost like this Lilo and Stitch, like Stitch-like influence here. Definitely drawing too fine. Look at this link here, and look over here, I'm making like lines too tight. That's what happens when you draw sober. It's no good. 20% battery remaining. What's going on here? Ah, we need to plug in my phone. Let's see if it fucks everything up, but don't have much choice. Alright, the notice went away. I'm still here, hopefully. You see me? I'm going to make this ear just a little bit more intentional. I want it to be clear that they're looking, and part of looking is hearing. Link over here trying to be quiet as a mouse. Maybe some kind of indication of pupil or eye. Be one big fang way up there. Just to honor this weird, crazy tooth that's like, oh, you've got your vampire teeth, but they're on the, like, corners of your mouth, right? That's silly. Something like that could be fun and distinctive. Yeah. Something surprising. I go back to the way it was, just a little bit more. This feels more realistic. Realistic and surprising. Also smart sometimes, I think, to have missing teeth. Or like a fucked up tooth, you know? These monsters don't just come out of central casting. They're natural creatures with no dentists. No dentists in Ganon's dungeons, right? So there's a fucked up dental plan. That's okay. Demon dentists. I mean, that's like a natural profession for a demon. That would make sense, right? That's like a great idea for like a comedy show. It's like the devil like exists, but he's just a dentist. He's just like a normal dentist. Definitely channeling Stitch with these claws and hands I'm sort of going with here. Hey, KJ. You know what might be sensible is if it looked like there was some, like, blood. A little bit of blood spatter. Link here is battle damaged after all. Something like that. Don't want to get too into those details. Welcome to the stream. The dream stream. I will be going till 1:55. At which point, I gotta go get my kid. Oh, I should be paying more attention to what's going on over here. No meaningful distractions just yet. Wait, what's this? What's this say? Okay. Client says, we will holler when we hear something. So it's anxiety inducing because the client will need an ungodly amount of work, but because of totally unpreventable, unforeseeable, obvious things, they can't pull the trigger on anything until the last minute, so that's lovely. I'm sure no one can sympathize. I'm PST as well, so. Oh, for I should say anyway, yeah, 155 PST. Yeah, one of these days I want to actually like, hey, can I just do 8 hours of streaming? When could I actually get that done? I would get so much fucking shit done. It would be insane. Because there's so many efficiencies that can happen. By the time, usually by the time I have to stop a stream, that's when like flow is kicking in, like the productivity phenomenon they call flow, where it's like you can just sort of get in the zone and get a fuck ton of shit done. You know, you're all warmed up, everything's in its right place, and work, and you know, and I enjoy this to begin with, but but like almost any task you become superhuman at, and you can enjoy it and really get some traction on it. Usually when that starts to kick in, it's time for me to end the stream, so I would love to do differently. The other factor is my wife has this sixth sense of like, whenever I'm really about to like start kicking ass with a drawing project, she calls me and somehow has something she needs me to do that just can't wait, and usually it is something amazing, like, oh, traffic's really thick, I'm gonna be late to pick up the kids, can you go do it, or something, you know, something like that. Something you wouldn't say no to. But it never fails, so. Didn't really even draw the feet on this guy, but here we go. This is what they could look like. Doesn't look too bad so far. I might have had the intention that he could be having some other bat wing like here. So I'll throw this up so that I can account for that down the road. The rest of his body here is blocked by Link, or the sort of... I've got it all bent out of shape like it's in a fisheye lens, but essentially he's standing behind some sort of structural element like an obelisk or something. Let's get the other wing in there. These flimsy wings that can't possibly support their body weight. Be cool to see some veins in their ears. A little bit of translucent effect, if that's doable down the road. I'd like to give it a shot. Lolly, are you East Coast, West Coast, someplace different? Oh, here's a lovely thing. My, Texas, okay. So that's Central Time? Mm-hmm. Where would that lie? I'm in LA, and the privileged LA people don't know about things outside of LA. I have to quickly quick out of the drawing program and restart it because it got a little stuck on one of my tools. KJ, you weren't here for it earlier, but we got some Zelda in there too. And then adjusted one of the forelegs of the horse to be more piercing through the air as opposed to resting on a surface, which is helped support the motion of the jump. And voila. Okay, we've got less than 10 minutes for me to try and crank out a quick Vire over here. This guy's the funny one, because we get to see his butt. Some serious Vire ass. Oh, you son of a bitch. Come on. It's still not letting me draw. What can I do? What can I do other than completely quit the stream and give up on life? I know it'll work if I like reset my settings, but I don't want to do that. The only other way that I'm aware of is to reset the system. Try this one more time. Yeah, it's weirdly stuck. Come on. Doesn't like me right now. Well, there's unfortunately little I can think of that will help right now. Can I switch between a big other draw? Everything right now is just activating the hand tool, which is what moves this around. So whether or not I'm clicking on eraser or brush. And this lovely little bug has been in Painter for about 10 years. 10 years, yeah. If any kids out there are watching, do not get used to Painter, because it doesn't give a fuck about you. Yeah, Painter is one of those programs that I would gleefully disavow and kick to the curb, and would have done a long time ago, if not for I just have these specific brushes that I can't replicate in anything else, unfortunately. And they're not. I'm more or less anchored to them, to the point where I really wouldn't be in a good place if they just simply discontinued the software or stopped giving, at least right now, and it's always been on life support. They just simply do the bare minimum updates for the Mac OS as it is, and same thing for PC. And you know, I've gotten by on it just fine. Meanwhile, I'm like, ooh, look what Procreate's doing, and you know, Photoshop has cool tools, and look at all these other new indie things, and Procreate is great, but it's not set up for enterprise, and until they have a desktop version, there's like a non-starter. Photoshop is, they don't have the brushes I need. I can't replicate them there, and they are they make questionable ethical considerations sometimes, and it would be diplomatic. So I don't appreciate that about them. Although I pay my subscription just like everybody else does and shit. But yeah, this will be a I was hoping to knock out that other Vire. That would have been fun, but it just can't happen right now. So I'm going to call it a stream. This happens. It's part of professional life, real life. Crashes and bugs and shit. So we're gonna say goodbye. But guys, it's been fun. We made good progress today. Drew a Vire. We drew Zelda. We fixed a horsey leg. This was very productive, and it's always good for our morale to make progress on this. Everybody watching and stuff. It really helps me. So thanks, and probably do it again tomorrow if work stays slow. So we'll see. All right, keep you posted. Thanks, everyone.